Welcome to the Fitness Queens podcast, empowering your mind and sculpting your body. Join your hosts, multiple fitness world champions, Alicia Kyrios and Stephanie McHugh, as we explore all things female health, training, competing, mindset, and living the fitness life every day.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of We Fitness Queens with my beautiful co-host, Stephanie McHugh.
Well, hello, everyone. And Ali, it's always, like I always say, it's so good to see you. How are you doing, babe? How are you feeling?
I'm missing you now. We actually just got to spend, some really good quality time and a number of days together. And it's like, damn it, why'd you have to go home, girl?
I went to Australia.
Why can't we just be like a simple couple-hour plane flight away? Why does Down Under have to literally be like, thousands of miles from everyone?
Oh my God, guys, the flight though. Okay, Ali, love seeing you. Absolutely love seeing you. But man, how the heck do these people do this flight all the time? Or you, particularly, coming to the States? This is insane. Okay, all my American, just listeners here, or my Aussie listeners, I am mind blown how long it took me to actually get to Australia from America. It was legitimately a day and a half. I traveled through time. I actually transported through time last day, and then transported back in time and traveled back, which was really insane for my body. My jet lag was, my goodness, like I'm barely starting to feel a little normal. Yep. Been home a few days already.
And I think, and I know you actually did say this to me, like, Ali, how the hell do you do this? Like multiple times in the year. And I think you do get used to it. I still find, and I was talking to Renata about this, oh my God, the UK trip for me is the only one now that royally kicks me in my ass. Like every time without fail.
The time zone's opposite,
right?
I
think it is literally... Yeah. I think it is literally maybe just the zones you go over and the location. I'm not sure, but it really messes with me. Like I actually struggle there for about 4 days when I first land. And then it always takes me at least 2 to 3 days to get back on my feet when I get home. Whereas now I'm so good with America. Like it just feels like coming home, and I find that I'm settled and jet lag's good. I don't even really experience jet lag anymore, but I'm settled into the time zone within 24 hours. Like I have no issues.
For you guys, you know when to go to sleep, and you know when to actually fly out. When I was trying to time that, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me do like a red eye, like overnight, so that I kind of maybe can sleep on the plane and then wake up and I'll be in Australia. Well, that wasn't really optimal because I didn't really get to sleep on the plane. Just not. I mean, I don't know how other people do this, right? Just sleeping, sitting up. I'm like, there's someone next to me.
I struggle with that. Yeah, I do struggle with that. And I mean, look, I'm probably better at it when I'm not pregnant because I'm really quite small when I'm not pregnant. So I have a tendency to use like the headrest. I can kind of turn my body side on. I put my backpack on the ground. If I'm not in premium,
a lever
backpack on the ground and get a lever or a suitcase, put my feet up, and then I'll lean on Christos. but
solo, I was feeling it, man. It was just me on this trip. I was like, I felt like, honestly, I was traveling like a lone packer across the world. I was like, okay, Carrie's not here with me. No one can like really almost in a way catch my stuff that I'm falling, and like I have strangers coming up to me, ma'am, you dropped your sweater. Man, you dropped your shoe. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my sandal. Oh yeah, that's my hoodie. Like it was great, honestly, just to kind of get a little perspective from clients that are stewardess or they just travel a lot. Honestly, I kind of gave them a lot of kudos when I got back, and I told them I was thinking of you. Like I couldn't stop thinking of how you went through these things or you work for this, and even you, just because of how many times you come to America, and I know how daunting it could be even with a child. Like I was just taking care of myself, and you've done it with me, so that's impressive.
It's definitely it definitely gets increasingly more challenging when you throw a child in the mix, I can tell you now.
And you're pregnant. I mean, all these mixes. So all power to you. Just want to give a little praise of hands to anyone that travels a lot or just lives in a plane or just does that as a living. I think that you guys have a lot of willpower, not just with sleep. I want to say with your digestive systems, man, because one thing I noticed, if I will give a little feedback for anyone, what got me thrown off the most was my bowels and my digestive system, because I wasn't really ever in a state of relaxation or never really got my stress levels down. It was like just high alert from the moment you get to the airport to the moment you land to the moment trying to like acclimate to the time zone. So that was a little different. Of course, I haven't done a travel like that in a long time, since last time I saw you, Allie. Actually,
that's right.
I went all the way over to see you. So anyway, guys, it was a blast to travel, but I'm very happy to be home. And Australia was like, gosh, can I just say, the freaking people are so damn nice. And of course, people keep telling me, well, depends on where you are. Like, of course, it's there, right? But I mean, I really do believe the Australian culture is just such a welcoming, just so nice. Like, they're very, very talkative. Like, they're not just very, I don't know, introverted. They're actually extroverts and actually want to talk to you and want to know where you're coming from and make you feel very welcome. So I really do appreciate the people and the food. That's another story. Man, and you guys are foodies, so you guys did definitely take me some
100%, like live for the food. So no, that is definitely something that we're known for, and it's the one thing I always miss, other than coffee. Coffee is the number one thing I miss when I'm not at home. I'm like, I don't know what y'all think, is a coffee bean overseas, but it gets royally messed up. It tastes shit compared to Australian coffee.
I'm sorry, but that's what I thought of your coffee, though.
No
I'm like,
way.
Shit, man.
Where were you drinking? You never had a coffee with me.
Babe, I'm sorry, but I'm so used to my coffee that I was looking for coffee shops. Okay, we're gonna have a little bit of a controversy there, just because I'm like, oh no, this coffee is just not, it's so bitter, so acidic. I'm like, it's just not as bold as I like it. And it's funny because I had one of the pros, she's actually a very fellow amazing competitor, Jar Jar, actually came up to me and she's like, how are you liking the coffee? And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, I'm not liking it. I'm maybe a little too used to my coffee. She goes, I think American coffee shit. And she just said the first thing she wanted to do was come back to home to Australia. And have
it's
coffee.
true.
And
it's
I said,
true.
I'm sorry, man, I can't wait to go home.
And on top of that, you charge like a ridiculous amount for your cups of coffee. It's like you got to take a mortgage out on your house just to get your cup of jar in the morning. It's crazy. and then on top of that, you get it, you drink it, and you're like, oh my God, that was crap.
Oh man, at least you know what, people, if you're going to be flying across the world, you may not experience that same, I guess, maybe flavor you're used to. I mean, I will say though, coffee was bad, but wine was great. So your wine in Australia was really good. You'll have some really nice, spectacular wine. I'm not going to talk crap about that. I think it has their own taste.
Oh my God, I hate not being able to enjoy a glass with you. It was like,
oh, I'm sorry. I totally teased her.
Like, oh my God, she was totally teasing me.
I was like the bad person at the baby shower. Like, what? Like, a glass of wine sounds great.
30 minutes, and then next minute I walk past Renata and you are on the Uber or whatever it was, ordering wines to the house. And
totally, man.
We end up having like 4 or 5 more girls all online ordering wines. I'm like, that is such
good influence. You know, I'm sorry.
And Renata's like, Allie,
okay,
Allie, would you like a glass of wine? Like,
well, we're not the one who told me who throws a party without wine.
But I can't have one.
Renata, we're at a baby shower. I mean, I kind of understand where it's coming from. She's kind of pregnant.
She's so funny. That made me laugh
great,
so hard.
Though I will say, just to throw it out there, like just the family, the people that I really love and I truly consider friends were there, and it felt really out of the ordinary because I'm used to seeing these individuals at US shows or some other international shows. So being in Australia with them was just felt so different, and being able to be a part of your baby shower, Allie, and just being awesome. Just your team, your family. I mean, I got to meet Christos's mom, who I felt like I already knew, and Nick. It was weird. I told him like, hey, nice to see you. And he's like, nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I already know you. My bad. I really feel like you're like Christos. So yeah, it's great.
Way, doesn't it? That's so funny. He's a card. That's hilarious. No, it was awesome to have you there because for anyone that doesn't know, we've been pretty blessed actually. The last time I got to see you here, you were here for our engagement party. So that was pretty cool. And then it was nice to have you here for the baby shower. And it was actually such a beautiful afternoon and evening with everyone. And we got to have so many of our absolute OG close friends there. You know, it was nice to be able to have Toby and Sam and Renata and everyone there. It was beautiful.
So lovely.
Such a beautiful event.
Allie, and you were glowing. Gosh, if you guys didn't see pictures of her, she was literally glowing with this just beautiful gown, well, dress, and just her makeup, all the things. And she just looked literally just ready to, oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so excited for baby girl to come.
Me too. We've only got 7.5 weeks to go. So how crazy is that? It was like, you know, show countdown at first, and now show's over. It's like the countdown to the baby girl, and then it will be the countdown to the very first show of the season. So it's like boom, boom, boom. But I'm super looking forward to it. I'm like really, really excited for the next 7.5 weeks to hurry up and come. And then at the same time, I'm like, actually slow down a fraction because there's a lot of shit I need to squeeze in before she gets here. So it's, you know, it's
going though. Like Allie's literally acting like she's not pregnant, you guys. I'm not kidding. Like watch her on the show and just going back and forth and like not acting like she is about to be, you know, less than 2 months, you know, giving birth. So it's impressive. I will say she also looks great. And for all you that are probably following her journey, have probably watched and seen, she's been documenting that and showing that progress, difference from Georgie to new baby girl. So did you guys
been interesting. Has been interesting, and it's been good to see the changes. We've got 2 names that we're sort of between at the moment, and I just said to Christos, let's wait and see what she looks like. And when she comes out, we can be like, yep, okay, we think it's one, we think it's the other. You know,
well, don't leak them yet. Then I thought you guys might have had already.
No, not leaking them,
Don't do them yet. Okay, all right.
And the issue is, and I said this to him, we are not letting family or anyone tell us what name to choose. That is our name to choose, and we've got our 2 favorites, and it will be based upon what we feel on the day. So no swaying. Don't ask for input. Don't ask for advice. Don't ask for people's opinion. No. It comes down to what we want on the day. You know, like I think that's important for this one because we did the traditional thing with you know, with George, and I love his name and it really suits him, and I'm glad we got to do that. But now this is our name. We get to choose this one. So I'm like, I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Well, there's a fantastic showing that we also had, guys. I went all out to Australia, of course, for the baby shower to see my family, my girl Ali, Christos, and just be able to also support the Australian just community, because I feel like you guys have really played a big role in the fitness community here globally, especially here overseas, which is something I wanted to experience myself, and I wanted to watch and witness and firsthand see what you guys were all about. I mean, of course, I'm in love with my Aussie since I've met you guys, but it's something different. I felt like, you know what, let's go on their turf, let's go on their territory and see how things are done over there. You know, what was so different? And the fact that impression to me means everything, and energy means everything, not just anything, it's one of the things that has drawn me, of course, to you and to a lot of the competitors. And even when I first met Pauline and Ari at the World Championships that they had supported at, which is what led me to want to go out to Australia in the first place. And when I got invited, it was just like kind of a no-brainer to you know, just see what you guys did over there.
What did you love most? Out of curiosity.
Oh man, besides like the people and the food, because I can't get over the food being just so much healthier. Okay, my American listeners, we're really poisoned with a lot of that they put in our food.
Same thing. Nicole did the same thing. So for anyone listening to this, Nicole, one of our pros from America, came out and she made the trip. She was adamant that she wanted to come and experience the Aussie thing for herself, exactly the same as you. She literally within the first 2 days just turned to me and said, WTF, man, because our food just tastes like crap compared to this. And she goes,
Oh,
I can't get over how much more flavor the fruit has. She goes, I can't believe how much more, you know, overall flavor and freshness there is in all of the vegetables and absolutely everything. She goes, I'm actually going to struggle when I go back home. I'm like,
tough
I
to
totally
realize
understand that,
it.
because that's how I feel when I go over. It's like, oh, all right, here we go. Fruit's going to be
Oh
bland
man,
again.
shit food. I gotta pay more and it's
Fruit's
shittier.
going to be bland. Actually,
Yeah,
having said that though, in
yeah.
defense, this last trip we had, even though I literally had to mortgage my house to, you know, afford my food, because it's gotten that expensive over there at the moment, it actually did taste better, and it is probably the best I have felt the fruit has tasted, but it still didn't taste like ours.
It doesn't taste like you guys. Y'all's let's just say agriculture is very different, ran as far as like even the farming, like all of that. You could just tell the quality of the food. That's where I will say, of course, we'll go into the show, but I can't get over how fresh and just farm to table it felt for every place I went to, even if it was just like a fast food stylish restaurant. I'm not talking about McDonald's, Jack in the Box, all that kind of stuff. I'm literally referring to just little hole in the wall, like little fast food joints that might, you know, been spring rolls. Like when I went to eat with you, just like a quick lunch, like it was just spring
How
rolls,
good
super
was
fresh.
rolls?
You know, it was a spring roll. I mean, we don't really, I mean, we get spring rolls, we have to go to like Japanese style, you know, places. And this was just
Yeah,
like
so
a
these are
regular grab
like
and go.
rice paper rolls that are
As it
like,
was rice paper,
yeah,
some steamed
yeah,
rice,
not
some good poached
fried.
chicken. Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing fried, just some like cucumber and some veggie inside of it. It's like literally like it's the most macro friendly thing. I was like,
it
okay,
is.
this is like so simple. Like again, the
Yeah,
places I would be getting like just be rice bowls, like just steamed, you know, rice, some good vegetables, and like some
yeah,
poached chicken or just steamed, even like
yeah,
meat, but it would have some flavor. So I, and most of the time, I'm like, oh, this is bland, you know, not like you know.
yeah.
I mean, she's right there is some flavor. I will say you guys don't use any spice really. If okay, I'm Latina, so I'm like really
Yeah,
big
I'm with you though. I'm with
spicy
you though.
food, and you
I
guys don't
always
really have
ask.
spice.
It doesn't, a lot of things, unless you're using a particular cuisine here, so you're actually searching for the spicy cuisines,
Right.
you'll find things will come, you know, more natural or,
And
you know,
then you
spice,
add the
like
seasoning kind of
herbs
thing.
and spice flavored moderately, and then you add your stuff. So then you have the choice to choose
Season or
your condiment to the level that you want. So it might be, you know, that you're going sour, you might be going spicy, you might
Great
be
for
going super
prepping.
hot. Like, yeah, exactly. So you have a lot
Great
more
for tracking.
control, because what I found is, unlike overseas, we have everything sort of on the side. So it's so
Yeah,
much
that's exactly what I
easier for
noticed.
people when they
It's
want to
like
keep
separate.
things clean and healthy and tracking. And so it's, you know, it's funny because people always talk about like the athlete and the shapes and the crazy levels of conditioning that people get here. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what?
Easier.
We have so much more access to
Your
so much more
resources.
macro friendly, you know,
Oh,
super prep friendly options. So it's almost like
makes me
you can
jealous,
still,
honestly.
yeah, you can still factor in a lot of socialization even deep in a prep that, you know, doesn't completely freaking derail you. So, and people have the capacity to, as long as they're willing to, of course, let's just back this up, make really good, just really good
Good
choices. So
choices. I'm
exactly.
with
So
you. I was just very, very like amazed at the options that I had that were healthy, or just how
yeah,
healthy things felt, or just how fresh things were. Even if it
yeah,
was something that was like maybe a little pan fried or deep fried, like it still just felt so light. Like it didn't feel like
yeah,
so heavy. Baked
heavy.
goods, for example, like when I noticed something like a cookie or, you know, like bread or banana bread, something like that, that's like super doused with sugar here. Like, I mean, over the top, you have one bite and you're like, okay, sugar crash.
Done.
Like,
Yeah,
within, yeah. Versus there, it's like you can really taste the ingredients. You don't really feel like it's oversaturated
yeah,
with high sugar. Same with like even normal ingredients inside of like a Coke Zero. It's funny because I immediately noticed it with
yeah,
my soda drinks. Like I was like, okay, I'll have a Coke Zero, and it like just didn't taste as pungent, which I was fine with because
yeah,
I was there for the carbonation anyways, rather than, oh, I
yeah,
need the syrupy, you know, type of
yeah.
in my
But you
mouth. And
know, interestingly enough, they actually have different like
it's a different
recipes
amount. It's a
for
different amount. Yeah,
for different
I
countries. So isn't
noticed.
that interesting? Like, and
It,
it's the one
it's
thing I notice whenever I'm
making me do
overseas, like
that.
more sweet. Way more
Yeah,
sweet
use
over
more
there.
sweetener. They use
Yeah.
more sweetener, they'll use more aspartame,
Yeah.
or they'll use more sucralose, they'll use
Crazy.
some type of additional, like amount that's not necessary. But then guess what? To the person, it feels like it's necessary, so that you're always searching for
Yeah.
that, like maybe like extra of
It's
sweetness.
cultural
And
palate, right?
yeah, that palate was different to where when I landed back home, it was actually really strange to have these things, and it was too much. I was like, oh no, my taste buds actually changed. You better not change. I swear, first thing I did, I ran to my
Aussie palate.
machine and I went and I made myself an espresso, and I'm like, let me make sure my taste buds didn't really get fucked up. Because everything else tasting so different. I'm like, oh no, the Australian food already changed me. It was only a week. It was only away a week, guys. So anyway, that gives you a little insight of what I feel like was the biggest impression, I guess, for me in just Australia. And like I told you guys, the people, but going into the shows, like there's just, I think, a big difference with culture. I think the culture here had really died down a lot with the competitors here in the States. It was kind of getting into more of a negative environment, more toxic. And that just it was so refreshing. It was just such a refreshing feeling to be amongst people that weren't jealous of each other, that were truly there for the same mission, that meaning for fashion, fitness, like camaraderie, like actually having like just a really good, healthy community. Didn't mean that you weren't there to compete against other people, but man, like the community that I saw of the Aussies from first place to fifth place was so refreshing. I can't say that enough, because I was like, these girls are jumping for each other, just like if they were, they're not teammates. And this is where I think that there's a very fine line where it comes out. And Ali, your team and our team, they're the same, man. Like they meet at shows and they will freaking connect and just feel like they're part of the same, because we are one. We're not like trying to segregate because you're on so-and-so's team and your coach is so-and-so's coach. When it was so like that in the States, like to where it was sad. It was like, oh, coach told me I couldn't talk to your team or your coach or this and that.
And it shouldn't be like that, like you could clearly see in Australia, and in particular inside the pro family, everyone is friendly. Everyone has friendship circles inside of that group that are definitely not linked. They don't have same coaches. Some of them don't even have any, they have no name coaches, like literally people that like might train only one or two people that don't even have a profile. Like it's not, the emphasis on having a specific coach or team is not here. We don't have that. It's literally you go with the person that gets the most out of you, that works best with you, and that brings your conditioning in the best you need to meet your criteria, right? So, what's great about that is it's like healthy competition, if that makes sense. So even as coaches, amongst other coaches, you don't look at another coach and go, oh, I don't like you, or, oh my God, you've done this, because you don't at all. Most of them are your friends, and you're looking, you literally look at them and go, we all operate differently. We all have different personalities. And that's what's great, because the right people will go with the right coach and the right style and the right method and the right personality to suit them. And that's how it freaking should be. And then when you get to the stage, it should be the best physique wins.
That wins. Okay. Which is what made me even more enamored with everything, because as you said, like that's already pretty much the standard. Like you guys still don't BS around that stuff, and I love it. Doesn't matter if there is a competition. You guys are very respectful of each other, and the leadership. That is where it changes. The leadership from the top actually leads with honor, with true respect to the athletes. They care about the athletes, and they truly actually show it. Like it's not just a facade of trying to say it. It's truly care from the moment you step into, the registration room. Even you notice the difference from registration to the end of the show day, to the end of the show weekend. And that, I think the support and like the way you guys are backed by your leaders and by the people that truly organize everything, it's special. I'm telling you, I was mind blown how much
Pretty
support.
cool.
Oh my God. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not even competing in the show, but I'm more excited about the things that are happening behind the scenes than a competitor, and they don't even know what to expect, because I feel like we're already so, I guess, in the States, and this is for anyone that, competitor that's listening that has maybe done a WBFF show in the States and, maybe had a sour taste, or just like, man, it's not what I expected it to be. It's just not what I thought it would be. I thought it would be bigger. I thought it would be better. I thought I'd be supported, or I thought I'd, maybe have a better experience. You probably were expecting what the Australian market is promoting, because I do feel like their is so much stronger and so active. They are literally in real time pushing and pumping out what's happening in that moment, versus it's like sometimes you feel like you're just kind of getting a little bit of an insight of what happened last Worlds or last championship, and it wasn't really what is happening in that time. And that I feel like is very important, because most competitors don't know what's truly happening. So the more it's relevant, transparent, and this is where I fell in love with everything. It's the transparency, how everything just ran organized, and how everything was pretty much so straightforward with the criteria of judging, where it is about the best physique winning. It is about the best person on that stage, not just physically, because there could have been somebody physically better, but there's could have been somebody also physically more of a full package for what they're looking for. And I think that that's already just a very, very big change from what we're used to. It's like this big gray area is completely taken out. Like, we don't have to worry about, oh, well, that person's more popular, or that person's, so-and-so's, client, or, there is no really, I don't know, issues even with their setup, because before it's like, oh, I can't, have so-and-so going here because they'll get mad. It's like, there is no issues. Like, you show up on the stage, you guys, I watched what you did on show day, and I was like, wow, now this is the real deal. Like, you actually have a really set show where people know exactly what to do. There's no question. And that's how it should be, honestly. Like, that's just what I love. It's so transparent.
Agreed. And it's like, runs on time, super smooth, uber professional. But it's so much fun to watch, because there's such an energy, and I can't even, like, you can't bottle. I'd love to bottle that shit, but you can't even bottle that shit. Do you know what I mean? But there is 100% a vibe about it. And I think that's the stuff that's hard to qualify. And until you've been and experienced it and sat in amongst it in the audience and or backstage, it's just something that's, you can witness it from afar, but until you're in it, you just don't quite appreciate the caliber of it. And it's, it really is such a bigger vibe, and such a great, just a great community to sit inside of. So I'm glad you got to experience it, because I always say to everyone, it's definitely worth doing at least once.
And I think other thing that I noticed, Ellie, that I'm sure everyone across the globe has noticed this, but it was the caliber of the athletes too. It was like the quality.
How hard is it to know? Like, when you're even watching it as an audience member, it's like, oh my God. Like, what I love is you get an amateur lineup right here.
It's insane.
And it's like all the top 10, well, at least 6 of the top 10 could have stood on the pro lineup with the pros on the same day and not looked wrong. They would have looked so, at home, in place.
In home, yes.
Potentially even super competitive for a podium finish, some of them. There was one girl actually in the fitness where I just went, whoa. If she
I know it's the same girl that I dropped my jaw. It had to be.
About.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
She went pro, and she was amazing. And I actually turned to some of my team and went, man, if that girl. And also the new wellness pro that we got, she was the same. I was like, man,
she was great.
Those 2 chicks had stood in our pro lineup, they would have had a podium finish, both of them. Like, they were amazing. I was blown away. And I'm like,
I agree with you.
And this is our amateurs.
Outstanding. Yes. Okay, guys, this is me. Okay, after like the 20th, 30th competitor came out, I'm like, okay, I swear to God, all the top 15 here are all worthy of being called out on top 10. How is this going to go? And no joke, the quality itself, not just being so high, but the performance, the just overall polishment that these girls had, you can tell it wasn't their first time on stage. So that goes to show too that the way your returning competitors and your returning just athletes come back, the quality as well as of the production of the show is ran correctly, which is why they're coming back to, you know, maybe retry for that pro status. And another thing that I find very, very important, because it's hard to get first place. It's hard to win a show. It's hard to in a high, you know, competing class in a lineup like that. But I respect so much. They only grant one pro card for every single class, no matter if they feel that top 3 could have easily been a pro. Because I think that's one of the bigger things too, that when I noticed, I'm like, man, that just wasn't the case. And a lot of the standards, you know, overseas. And I feel like that takes away so much from that first place. That first place person, you know, just really could have also been the only one and should have probably been the only one. Even if the second place looked just freaking amazing and could have also, you know, been a tied with the first place. I still have always believed you should come back and have to get that first place.
Go
so
again.
I'm sorry that, you know, maybe got a second place and I got a pro status. Doesn't mean I'm taking that away from, but I still feel that a competition where you win first place is necessary for you to truly feel like the winner of the competition.
I don't know about you, but as an amateur, when you win, you actually legitimately want to win like that too, where you're like, holy crap, that was the battle of my life. That was actually rough. That was hard. I feel a bit beaten up after that one, but I'm glad I won, because it almost then feels like, you know, it is a massive victory. It's not, like I won, but no one was really close to me anyway. You know, it's different. It's different when you got someone standing beside you that's right on your heels and you're like, oh my God, she's chasing me. If I drop my line, if I stop posing, if I don't keep this shit up, I'm gone. I'm losing first place. Like you want, even as a pro, you want that conversation in your head on the day, on the stage. Because
as you should.
That's what you want to be a champion from, right? Is that actual full-blown battle. So I agree with you. I think that the caliber, there's always been a little something in the water here. It's ridiculous.
It really is.
But do you want to know what I think it also comes down to? It's not like these physiques that we're seeing where everyone goes, oh my God, they're so next level. It's not like they've just come out of the woodwork overnight. A lot of these girls, and I really need to say this because this also says a lot about our culture here. A lot of these girls have got on stage 4 to 7 times. So like, they don't just get on stage and win first time most of the time. There are some that have, and on the weekend, I think we had one of them. But what I'm trying to say here is the way people are encouraged, the way that people are given feedback, and the way that people are supported to come back, and the experience they have and how good it is makes them want to come back. And the fact that the pro team looks the way it does and we're a big, genuine family, people want to be a part of that. They want the pro status because it means something. Then they keep coming back. So what you're seeing when you see a top 10, and in that top 10, 6 of them could easily have been on the pro stage, it's because they could. It's because they've been there, taken feedback year in, year out, kept coming back season after season and improving to bring something that is close to a pro level physique, if not already at pro level. So I don't know about you, Steph, but when I think about a pro status, that's what it means. It means that you are literally someone that could almost step on the pro stage today or tomorrow. And whilst you might be the baby version on it, development-wise, you don't look out of place and you could rock it up there with them. So I think that this is a really cool way for you to see that, hey, all the things that have been, you know, really beautiful about this space and this landscape in Australia for a long time now, they benefit the athletes long-term as an athlete because the experience, the encouragement, the support, the genuine feedback and the fostering environment and the pro family and its genuine culture, it makes it worth continuing to develop yourself and battle and compete. And when you then do go pro, it just has this, you know, bittersweet sense of absolute victory. So I hope anyone listening to this kind of gets a contagious, infectious desire to be at some point, somewhere, someday part of something like this, because I think it really is genuinely all the beautiful parts of why you might want to do this, you know, why you might want to do this sport, why you might want to put yourself under the immense, you know, rigidity at times that we go through to get there, and also, you know, the level of what some people call sacrifice to make it happen. I think it's really worth it when you're part of this bigger vehicle that is actually really powerful in its ability to make you feel like you're part of a family, because it really does. And so I'm so happy you all got to see it and feel it. I really am.
Hey, no, I'm more than beyond like just ecstatic and grateful that I got to experience it myself. I completely agree with you. Everything you said, just in regards to wanting to know you win against the best, to be
Yeah.
it's like if you don't go up against the best, then you don't know really truly testing the waters. Are you the best? Versus you could be your best if you go up against actually the best. And
Yeah,
I think that
correct.
the more you know challenge yourself to be up against in those platforms, the better you'll truly challenge your own self. Sometimes some people are a little more complacent, you know, they just kind of keep, you know, maybe challenging their own limits where they're at with the same people. And it's like maybe easy for you. If you're in maybe a different circuit and you're like, you know, this federation, I've kind of outgrown it. I've kind of felt like there's just really not more competition here. I've won, you know, this many things, and move on, man. I think it's a really good opportunity for you to find a new venture, find a new place where you're challenged, where you maybe have other athletes that are more competitive, and you find yourself, you know, motivated to want to go up against that. Because for me, it's more motivating. The more better athletes I saw, I was like, okay, now I'm getting the itch to get back on stage again. Okay, this is good. This is what I like.
It really is. It really is. You know, and even to the point where, you know, for me, it's exciting because you go, okay, well, you know, if we look at that same sentiment that you have, I have that every single time I go to a show. I'm like, oh my God, such FOMO, you know, such FOMO. Like, you're all on the stage.
Oh, yeah. It's real.
The audience. I would love to be out there. And, you know, especially when I'm going through pregnancies and everything else, it's like, oh, well, IVF for a year, then a pregnancy, then post. And it was a very different prep going back to stage last time, because I didn't even get a chance to recover any of my muscle or get my shape back or anything. But what I love now is knowing that the physique that I was once told was too big and borderline too big, and I had to stop training in any way, shape, or form to build anymore, which was my 2019 Bahamas. That's actually exactly what I need. So I'm pumped because my next return to stage is going to look different. It was my favorite. It was my
favorite physique of yours.
So
hands down. I
loved
loved your delts. I loved your physique. I just loved it all. I loved it.
I loved it. I loved it. I felt strong. I looked strong.
It's a beautiful, strong feminine look. I loved it.
And I still had a beautiful little taper. I was getting, you know, almost striations in my glutes. It was crazy. That was by far my favorite thing. So remember I said to you, I had to stop eating carbs on show day.
Yeah, I'm like, you kept mad woman.
Fuller and drier and more splits. And I'm going, oh shit, I'm going to put myself out of the category. So I had to stop eating carbs and just
it was a very fun reality.
It was so funny. So my love for this now is the fact that, and Christos and I've had conversations about this, I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is exciting, because I stopped training upper body after 2019. I didn't train it at all for like 2.5, nearly 3 years. Now I'm back into 3 sessions a week while pregnant, sure. So it's not like my usual level, but it doesn't matter. I'm 3 sessions a week there. I'm bringing up my lower half as much as I can while pregnant. But as soon as I get out of this pregnancy, guys, I am not rushing to a stage like I did last time. What I'm doing this time is I'm not focusing on getting small after I give birth to this baby. I'm focusing on building. So I go straight into a build phase, and I'm growing back my 2019 physique with hopefully improvements even on that shape. And I will be getting on a stage we'll see how I go. Probably 2025, but I may or may not throw one in the end of next year if I feel like I've recovered my mass.
Hold your horses. And she's going to have to listen for this one, because I think that your body really needs it. So she's probably going to have to listen to that. We're going to have to convince her. No, she needs to go back in 2025, because
my
honestly,
body's going to dictate.
Like, come on, she's having labor in January. I'm like, guys, that means that this woman's not even going to take time to truly build. Let's convince her.
I'm going to build.
Hold your horses. We got to get you to build. And she's going to take advantage of that surplus. that she'll be in coming out of pregnancy. I think that's an
Yeah, so
amazing
the other thing too is that, remember, I could only breastfeed for as long as my milk supply would last. So, you know, as you get further into a deficit, it cuts off. But I'm not doing that. I have every intention of breastfeeding for at least 6 to 9 months, which means I have to stay in a surplus for at least that time. If she feeds well, I'll feed for longer. You know, I got no issues with that. And I don't have any rush, and I don't have a desire to move into a deficit at all. Until I feel like I've grown back what I want to grow back. I'm happy to wait until 2025, but it will be an Australian show that I hit. I think that gives everyone enough indication as to where I'm going with this. So, but I can say this, I will not get back on stage until I know that I'm sitting where I need to be to win something, because I don't love second place. I took
As
it,
no one
but
does, but
I don't love
it's
it.
a great achievement. It's just
not my
a stepping
favorite
stone.
thing.
It's a stepping stone. It's not somewhere where you land. It's not where the end finale is. So it's like, keep going.
But you know what though?
Make that comeback.
It's exciting to know that I know what the criteria is, and it's going to be clear, and I know exactly what I need to work on, and I can physically look at myself and know. I don't worry about presentation and posing. I'll be fine there. That's never I don't have any issues with that. That's 30% of the grade. I'll tick all those boxes perfectly. I don't have to worry about it. It's going to be the other percentage, which is your majority, on physique. But the really cool part is, hey, it's going to be clear. It's going to be defined. It's going to be really, really easy for me to sit back and critique the hell out of my progress and know, am I ticking these boxes? Where are my shortfalls? What have I got to bring up? And am I doing it? Because I will take as long as I need to make sure that I am 100% meeting the criteria when I step on stage next, right? I'm going to remove as much, you know, weaknesses as I can. So, you know, that's super exciting as an athlete, like having those clear parameters. It's super exciting. So yes, that's what I'm going to look like. Yes, I am really excited about actually stepping on a stage again. I'm really excited about doing it in Australia because friends and family can watch me that haven't been able to. I've had a lot that have traveled over the years, yes, to see me, but not the overwhelming level that I will get when I actually do it, because I think it's going to be overwhelmingly emotional for me when I get out there. And I can only imagine how Hattie felt, because it will be the same. And I haven't been on stage in Australia for the same duration as her. It's been
you girls have
9
really
years.
been speaking internationally.
Yeah.
A
Ever
lot
since.
of the worlds or just international shows, and having competed on your home turf. And gosh, it was awesome to watch just Hattie come and just, you know, not just for the Australian Championships. It was just, God, the woman sets a standard. She always sets a standard. She always, you know, kind of goes and breaks that barrier every time. Somehow goes out there and
it's
just
crazy though,
blows it out of the water.
You like watch her walk out and it's like, man, I feel like I'm watching a whole nother category. You know what I mean? Like it's just a whole nother level. I feel like there's like fitness and then there's Hattie.
Hattie's category. It's just Hattie.
It's on her own. And it's like,
it's the Hattie test. I agree with you, man.
And I said this to Linda, her mum, in the audience. I'm like, babe, it's just every time she turns side on, it's just that side profile. It's that fucking glute. I'm like, what the hell? Because she gets that beautiful.
You know what it is for me?
She gets that beautiful hip, you know, dimple, and then that
her hip is great,
and then that split, and then it like pops out and tapers into this little waist. I'm like, oh my god, like what the hell is
such a massive, like honestly, a massive long glute that I like love, and then honestly, just that I'm like her quads and her. I mean, what don't you love about her? Come on, like there's just so much that we can go on about her.
I actually really loved her shape in this one, because it was just was so proportionate and so beautifully tapered, and the conditioning was like right on point. Like everything was just exactly where it should be. It was just, like I said, I always feel like she's in a whole nother category of her own, because her development is just at this level of just beautiful muscle maturity, and just, you know, there's been no interruption to her growth over the last decade. You know, she hasn't stopped for anything. She's had no years off. She's had, you know, no pregnancies. It's
Kept
just been
going.
this beautiful year in, year out, getting
Build
better
that
and better
skills.
and better and better and better and better. And then she throws that on
Layers.
stage and it's like, oh man, this just looks
Her
like,
experience,
yeah,
yeah, that
correct.
poise, that like
The
polishment.
posing, the polish,
It's
all of it, right? It's really beautiful to
beautiful.
watch.
So anyone listening to this, just know, you know, she's a category of her own, but you can
Yeah,
still
it's a
tell
whole nother
she's
level.
aiming for, you know,
whole nother
fitness.
level.
You know what you mentioned there, Ali, and I'll leave it at that because I think that was the other bigger part that I fell in love with the Australian just crew, and not just the crew, but the organization itself, how they ran things. Even though, just to clarify this, because a lot of people listening are like, wait, I thought it was still the same, you know, brand. Yes, although it was a franchise, like you have to really understand that when a franchise is ran differently through their parameters of their, you know, like their rules or regulations, like the way they carry themselves, the way they, you know, manage the athletes and all those things, it was completely different. It was never something that was the same. And I never really understood what they meant by that when, you know, my like friends like
I would
Ali
always tell you, but it's
would
hard
tell
to
us like it's not the same, Steph. It's just not. But there's such good humor. And I mean this, like they would never talk shit about anybody else, meaning like saying, you know, this is what's being wrong. It was always
It's not the same.
reading between the lines. It was always kind of like, no, it's just not the same in Australia. And, you know, here I go
Yeah.
trying to, you know, see for myself, and they're 100% right. It wasn't the same, which is, you know, another reason why I give massive respect over to Pauline and Ari for the community that they've built, the respect that I have for them, you know, after meeting them and after seeing how they produce their shows and everything. Which is another reason why I feel that this was such a needed thing that's happening, that, you know, this whole movement, and I'm sure everyone's already kind of like listening, what the hell's going on? That show was awesome, but then like all this stuff happened post show. It's like, guys, there's a new like, not, I wouldn't say this, there's a new future, there's just a bright future ahead with them, right? Pauline and Ari are just like such incredible leaders.
And I think it's just a bright future for everyone else that's never experienced this level of stuff that we're talking about, because I think it's going to come and it's going to be experienced by more people. And, you know, if you're really truly passionate about this sport and this industry, having positive experiences is what you want for everyone. You know, it's just, you just want to like wave your wand and spread that level of contagious, you know, yeah, you really do. And I think that's just where we're at. And I think, you know, everyone that is sort of watching things unfold, I would say, keep your eyes open, watch for updates. There'll be more and more information coming through. You're going to actually start to witness more and more things being, you know, clearly defined and publicly announced. And I think, you know, these are all really exciting times ahead. And more than anything, I think just watching the caliber of the first show that is set now in Sydney at the ICC on the 27th of April, 2024. That's going to be super exciting because it's going to go off with a bang. And I'm really hoping that everyone tuning into it from their couches overseas, or those that are 100% lucky enough to sit in the audience, and more importantly, to everyone that is actually competing as part of this, like, wow, what a phenomenal opportunity to be part of an inaugural launch of something that I think is going to be so big in time. Imagine being one of the first pros, one of the first to go pro on the brand new stage. Like, that's super cool. And I think for everyone that's considering prepping for it, get with your coach and get your timeline sorted and prep, because it's going to be next level. And I think it's going to be super exciting. Like, the vibe and the energy for you will be electric. And I'm just excited to sit in the audience and be part of it from that angle. And I think, you know, for everyone that's going to still be following it and watching it and just maybe even still sussing it out, you know, by all means, feel free to do so, because I think you're going to be in for a real treat. It's going to be an exciting year ahead.
Man, I'm just pumped. Honestly, like I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for a new home. I'm grateful for a new platform, for something that feels safe, that feels positive. Yeah, FMG, you guys, that's the new, you know, brand that is in the making, that is, you know, has been released. But as Ali said, you just have to stay tuned and stay, you know, following their official page, and just really be on the lookout for any future announcements and any other future, you know, releases. I think it's just really important to just stay in the loop as best as you can. And you can, of course, just do that by following the FMG international.
Yeah, follow all the pages, follow all the sites, follow all the social platforms. Keep your
follow
eye
Pauline
abreast.
Dari. Yeah.
Correct. Keep your eyes abreast of the website as things are obviously updated and loaded and added to there, because you're going to have all of your questions answered in that central location. And then the best part is, look, this team is always available. So, you can always reach out. You can always contact, message, email. They're an incredibly beautiful team, an incredibly beautiful bunch of people. And, they just all want to see you all have an amazing time. So it's going to be good. Here's to a amazing new chapter and a very bright new future, Steph. I'm excited.
Hey, likewise, babe, and anyone listening, like there's a bright future, and there's hope. There's a big glimmer of hope for all of us, and we just have to hold tight, right? Like just be positive and just know that there's a bigger and better,
And if you're like me, it's just back to the drawing board, grow that physique.
Growing. Hey, that's exactly what it looks like for me, right? Right now, back home, back to the
what's
grind.
really cool? I was going to say this to you because you already know where my favorite physique on you sat, and it's actually when you had a little bit more mass too, and then you were told to stop, and I remember being like, what for? You're freaking amazing. So
this
now
is me. I have to go down.
Now you can be the beast that I know you are. When you get lifting and you start going for strength, you're an absolute freaking weapon. And I'm excited to watch you do the shit that I used to watch you do years ago all over again. Are you pumped for that? Like, does that excite you?
Oh,
Ellie. Heavy as shit versus just metabolic conditioning all the time? Because you must be pumped.
It makes me the most excited to know my training is going to be different. My methods of building are going to be different, because I didn't really get an opportunity to build as much as I'd like to over the last
really
few years.
Allowed to. You weren't really allowed
they were like,
to.
you hit the criteria. We cannot get you to get bigger. We cannot have you thinner, all these things. And, it really does suck when people limit you and they cap you, not just internal growth, but physical growth. You're like, man, but I thrive there. I really like being an athlete. Pushing my boundaries. I like, testing my limit. And it was something I haven't been able to tap into for quite a while. I do have to get my injuries completely, 100 under, just more recovery. I have to focus on making sure my body is primed. But I do have a lot of excitement of knowing that I'm going to get to push my body, grow, any limits, as long as I'm muscularly balanced and having everything symmetrical and aiming for everything to be bigger, but symmetrically bigger, then I will, man, I'm going to be having.
You're going to be. I'm just excited because I know we're going to get
I want to grow.
The big jacked, like you're still petite and you're still super. It's such a feminine, beautiful look, but man, you are
I'm so
a jacked
right now.
beast. Yeah, you're
little
just
right
you're not what I would classify as like tiny when you get to stage. You actually like, I remember standing next to you and you had this delt and this cap and this rear delt where I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, wow. This is like in 2016. This is like in 2016, people.
That was my most massive.
Yeah, I loved it. She was watching her online too. She's like squatting and deadlifting, like
I was lifting a lot.
It's ridiculous weight.
I was in a 300 club then.
And then her idea of like throwing in a little bit of cardio is like flipping massive big freaking truck tires down.
My clients know what you're talking about too. They're like, oh yeah, that's coach. Burpees, sprints, sides, all the jumps.
So cool to watch. And like I find, like, just for me, it's just what I personally have a preference for it, and I just find it so sexy, and I find it so badass, and I know you're a gangster, so I'm pumped to see the Steph I know meet the old Steph in training and mash it together and just show the whole world what's coming, because it's gonna be exciting. I'm loving it.
I'm getting chills because that's the Steph that I honestly miss. I miss one that was a little bit more gritty. It was a little bit, a little bit more into the training. And don't get me wrong, guys, I love training, but because I've been having to back off a lot of stuff, for certain criteria looks, I just haven't been allowed to. So now that I have a free run to be able to build myself and actually, make up some time that I've lost because I have felt like I've taken quite a bit of time to, reduce some mass. I'll have to gain some of that mass back. So it's not going to be like immediately that I go back to that 2016 look that I had.
No,
Because
it'll take time.
when I was told to go to figure, and they were like, oh, you need to bump up classes, and like you're just a little too much full of mass, when in reality my mass I felt was actually good. It just wasn't the conditioning level that they probably preferred. I was a little too lean, a
Your
little too
mass was amazing.
but I felt like my mass was
it.
fine. So
Oh,
I look forward to it,
and
Ellie. Thank you.
it's cool because you now know after seeing, after seeing that fitness lineup, you also go, yep, that is cool. I can lift like a beast again, and it's not gonna it's gonna actually be in my favor, not go against me. It's so cool. I love knowing that the categories now give people the opportunity to actually lift how they want or train how they want. And I don't know, just no ceiling is fun. I dig it too, because it was speaking from my own experience, that's the stuff I love, and that's the look I love, and that's where I want to go too. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited for both of us now.
We're building, guys. So you're going to see
we're
us
like
going through the
mofos.
holidays, right? Like I think the holidays are coming up, which we will definitely talk up maybe some, good
Yes,
tips for these holidays, and giving you guys some insight of how to navigate through the holiday season. We are entering into the new year, so I'm sure a lot of you are maybe wanting to goal set, or maybe reevaluate how your year went. If you haven't already done that, it's very important for you to look at, how did this year go for you? What can you do better? How can you set yourself up, to start the new year already with a head start, rather than waiting until January 1st to say, you're going to start making all these,
oh my God, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's around the corner. So
all the way through. So we will touch on that, I think, in one of our future episodes. But hey, I just wanted to say a big thank you for everyone tuning in. And a massive I miss you now that you've left. But I'm so grateful that you got to come. And for everyone that has been, sort of watching on the sidelines, I hope that they had a bit of FOMO watching the show roll out, and that they got to witness, how amazing things are. And I'm looking forward to everything that is going to be shared in the future. And I can't wait to get to see everyone all over.
Surprise, guys, we do have a special guest tuning in on these upcoming episodes, so just stay tuned. I won't announce her name. I'm going to actually announce it on our page. So if you haven't already been following our page on social media, we did rebrand it to We Fitness Queens. So go ahead and you can look that up on your phone and just search We Fitness Queens. Make sure you're following that page, and we're going to be announcing our special guest that will be on the next upcoming episodes. It was so good to see you, Ellie.
And then if you've got any questions you want us to specifically ask this guest, you'll be able to let us know. We'll pull those onto the session too. But we're super excited for everything we've got lined up, and we can't wait to bring everything to you over the coming weeks. Steph, so good to see you again, and we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Bye, guys. Take care, and on to the other side.